This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about the classes and we have discussed what exactly an Apex class and what it contains and how can we define an Apex class in Apex programming. And upon defining an Apex class, what is the syntax that we used to follow? And as part of these Apex classes, what are the various access specifiers that we have in Apex programming? And what is the significance of each access specifier and how can we use them, we have discussed in the previous session. And whenever we are defining an Apex class, what are the various ways that we have and what is the navigation to define an Apex class, we have discussed in the previous session. Now today we'll see the practical concept here. How can we define an Apex class? So today we are going to discuss about how can we create our own Apex class, how to define the required members. We'll see practically. So let me go with that standard navigation first. First of all, let me show you how can we define an Apex class by using this standard navigation. Then I will explain what are the difficulties that we have in this standard navigation and we'll see how can we use the developer console in order to define an Apex class. Okay, now let me go to my Salesforce org. I'm going to my Salesforce org now. Now I want to create an Apex class. How can we define an Apex class? Now let me explain. So let's take a small use case now. Define an Apex class to manage the customer details and define all the required members to hold the customer data. In order to hold this customer data, to store the customer data, whatever the variables are required, we need to define all those variables inside the class. So I want to define an Apex class in order to hold the customer details. Now, now tell me generally related to a customer, what kind of data that we can store? Customer ID, name of the customer, contact number, email ID, address, hmm, balance amount of the customer, age of the customer, and the birth date of the customer, joining date of the customer, and then we can store his salary details. So over here, that means revenue which he is generating right now, that is called as balance amount. And then we can check whether the customer is in active status or not. Still, whether he is an active customer or inactive customer, I would like to store. These are the details I would like to store. Now, so in order to define this Apex class to store the customer's data, I would like to use the standard navigation first. So let me go to the standard navigation. Just go to your setup menu, search for the option Apex classes in quick find box. Go to the Apex classes link Now it is indicating all the Apex classes whatever we have prepared in the past. Now, have you prepared any Apex classes till now? No, we haven't prepared. So the table is empty. Now observe this one here. Here it is indicating how many characters of code that you have written. It will be clearly indicating that. Now it is indicating you are currently using 0 characters of Apex code. That means you haven't written any Apex class code till now, okay, in your organization out of an allowed limit of 60 lakhs characters. 60 lakhs characters. So that already we have discussed that Salesforce will allow us to write maximum of 60 lakhs characters code within an organization, including all the applications. We can write maximum of 60 lakhs of characters code, not more than that. Now, because every time upon writing the code, Salesforce will counting each and every character, including space, including single quotes, including special characters, everything will be counting by Salesforce. Now, so in this case, as of now, we haven't prepared any Apex classes, we haven't prepared any triggers, we haven't prepared any web services till now. So it is indicating right now we have used 0 characters of Apex characters code. Now I would like to create a new Apex class. Just you can go to this section, click on new button in order to create a new Apex class to write the required business logic. Now, let me create a new Apex class. Click on new button. Now it provides an editor. It provides an editor here. Now this editor is purely like as a normal notepad kind of editor. It's a plain text editor where we have to write that Apex class code. So it's an empty editor has been given by Salesforce. In this empty editor, we have to write that Apex class code which you want to define. Based on your business requirement, whatever the class you want to create the class, define the members, whatever you want. Now, so when you go to this editor here we can able to write. But upon writing this code, the characters are looking like as very, very small. If you want to increase the font, then we are having this capital A symbol. Keep on, we can click on this to increase the font. To decrease the font, okay, we are going to be using this small a character here. So we can increase the font, we can decrease the font of your content based on your eye contact. Now I would like to increase the font over here. If you want to decrease the font, then you can keep on click on that. We can decrease the font also. Now, so this is the font that we have. Now I want to define an Apex class. How can we define? Now let's see. Now I'm preparing that Apex class by defining it as public. Because that already told you each business logic class should be defined with either public or global. We can't define it as private, we can't define it as protected. It should be always either public or global. Now, during integration, we can use the help of global. But now I'm going to be writing the business logic for my organization. Within my organization, I would like to use it so that I'm defining it as public. Public class name. I'm giving the class name as customer helper. I'm defining the class name customer helper. So that already told you, please start the class names with the uppercase letters. Because always we have to follow Pascal case upon defining the classes. To define the variables, small letters starts with a small letter. So just by looking into the word itself, we can understand, is it a variable? Is it a class? If it is starting with uppercase, class. If it is starting with lowercase, it's a class member. So based on that coding standard, based on that naming convention itself, we can understand what exactly it is. Now, so now here I'm defining the class with the name customer helper. Here we can define the members here. Now I'm defining the members, public, integer, customer code, and the customer age. Now here you can raise the question, sir, already we have defined the class as public, then why you are defining the members also as a public? Can we eliminate this one? No. That already told in the yesterday session itself, class will have its own, member will have its own. If I'm applying at the class level, that means it will not be applicable the same access specifier to all the members over here. It won't applicable. Class will have its own access specifier, member will have its own access specifier. Compulsorily, we have to specify. Now, for example, if I'm not giving any access specifier, then what is the default one? Private, right? The default access specifier is private. Okay, now, so that every member should be defined with the respective access specifier. I'm defining the remaining members. Public string customer name, and then I would like to specify the designation, contact number, email address, city name. Next, public decimal balance amount, loan amount. Public date, birth date, and the joining date. Public boolean is active. So I would like to indicate whether customer is in active status or not. So this is how we need to write the business logic as part of your standard navigation. In standard navigation, it provides a default empty plain text editor. It's look like as a normal notepad kind of editor. In this normal notepad editor, we are going to be defining the required Apex classes, and we can define the members, and we can write the business logic whatever you want. Now, here upon writing the code in this editor, we have few limitations, we have few drawbacks. The first one is this particular editor won't provide any intelligence. It won't provide any intelligence. Now, intelligence means what? Online help. Okay, online help. Like for example, whenever I'm writing some content inside this here, for example, if I'm writing some AP, then whatever the words are available starting with AP, these are populating over here, like as online help. So we no need to type everything manually here. It is providing this feature automatically. Now, this is called as intelligence. This is also called as online help. Now, in this case here, let's see. So now this intelligence has been implemented with the help of a feature called as reflection. With the help of a feature called as reflection. With the help of a feature called as reflection. By using reflection, they are providing a feature called as intelligence, which is very a good feature for the developers, especially because upon writing the code within a namespace or within a library, we don't know how many classes are available, how many methods are available in each class. We don't know. In that case, instead of remembering all those class names and the method names manually by our own, just we can use the help of class name dot. It will populate all the methods automatically. We can see them in the form of intelligence over here, like as online help. So this kind of intelligence is not available because intelligence feature is purely built upon reflection. Like for example, simple concept here. For example, assume that as a human being, okay, I can see all of your faces here. I can see everybody. I can see all the people's faces. But I can't see my face by my own. Okay, I can see everybody's face, but I can't see my face by my own. Then if I want to see my face, then what can I do? How I'm look like, how my eyes are look like, how my nose are look like, how my color is look like, I want to see. Then what can I do? We have to stand in front of a mirror. Whenever we are standing in front of a mirror, the mirror will be reflecting your image. So it will reflect your image so that we can able to see so how you look like, how your eyes look like, color look like. We can able to see all these things. That means what? Mirror is providing the reflection of that particular object. That object may be a person also, any element also, whatever it might be. Like the similar way, whenever we are using this class names, for example, if I'm typing some system dot, if I'm using system dot, it will be providing this class to the reflection feature. Reflection feature will expose the metadata of this class. In this system class or in this system namespace, whatever the members are available, everything will be getting exposed automatically. But this kind of online help or intelligence feature is not available in standard navigation. That is the first problem. So the first problem in standard navigation is standard navigation won't provide any intelligence feature. That is the first problem. Second problem. For example, today I'm writing some business logic here because I'm working for a project today. I have to deliver the requirement by today evening 6 o'clock. So regarding a complex requirement, keep on, I'm writing some code since last 3 hours. Since last 3 hours, I'm writing some complex business logics here. Till now, I have written 200 lines of code. Okay, I have written 200 lines of code. Now, I haven't saved that code here. Now I'm done with that code. Here I have written that code. When I about to click on save button, suddenly my system has been shut down because power went off. I don't have any battery backup on my system over here, so that my system has been shut down. After 5 minutes of time, the power has been restored back. So now I'm able to reboot my system. Then when I go back to the screen, will I be able to see the previous 200 lines of code? No. Whatever the 200 lines of code that I have written, the whole code will be lost. It will not be saving that code. That means in this particular standard navigation, we don't have any auto save option. Each and every line of code we have to save manually. If you are not saving that code, the whole code will be lost. If you close the browser or if the system has been shut down, automatically the whole code will be lost. We can't get it back. There is no such option. Again, we have to spend 3 hours of time to write the same logic again and again and again. This is the second problem. So, as part of this standard navigation, we have these two major issues. First one, standard navigation won't provide any intelligence feature. Second one, standard navigation won't provide any auto save option. Compulsorily, we have to save the code by using either save button or quick save button here. Okay, clear? Now, let me clear. Once you are done with the writing this class code, then click on save button. As soon as once you click on save button, your class code will be getting compiled by Salesforce. It will save the class code inside the metadata repository. Now, so what is that file name here? Whatever the name that you are given for the class, with the same name, it will create a file. In that file, it will be storing this whole content. What is the extension of the file? The file extension will be okay, customer helper dot Apex C, right? Because it's an Apex class, so now it will be indicating that the class file name will be customer helper dot Apex C. It's an Apex class. Clear? Understood the concept now? Now. Now, in this case, let's see. When I go to this Apex classes here let's see. How many characters of code we have used? 277. That means upon writing this Apex class code, here we have written 277 lines of code over here, including spaces, including braces, everything will be counting by Salesforce. So totally within your organization, we can write maximum of 60 lakhs characters code, not more than that. Okay. Now make a note of this class. Hmm. When you go to that unlimited edition also, that already told you. In unlimited edition also only 60 lakhs characters, but we can extend them. But in free developer edition, we can't extend. That is fixed. Done with this? Now, one more use case. Second use case. Now, this time I will show you how to create an Apex class by using developer console. The second way, in order to define an Apex class, not only using the standard navigation, we can go with another mechanism, that is developer console also. Now, let's see. Let me take a small use case now. Define an Apex class. Got it done? Define an Apex class to manage the product details. Define an Apex class to manage the product details. Define the required variables to hold the product data. In order to hold the product data, whatever the variables are required, I would like to define all those variables as well. Done with this? Now, let's see. So let me show you how can we define an Apex class by using this developer console. So let's go with this developer console. Go to the Salesforce org, click on Setup menu, click on Developer console. So let's go to the Developer console editor, click on File menu, New menu item. Now we can choose what you want to create. You want to create an Apex class or a trigger, Visual Force page or a lighting component or application or a token or an event or an interface or what? What you want to create. I want to create an Apex class. So click on Apex class. Now it provides a small dialog box. In that dialog box, you will be getting a small text box. Now, specify the Apex class name. With what name you want to create an Apex class? I would like to see. Now I would like to specify the Apex class name. I'm giving the class name as products helper. I'm giving the class name as products helper. Click on OK button. Now the class syntax will be getting prepared automatically. So now the public class products helper. Now the class syntax has been given by Salesforce automatically by default. Now inside this class, you have to define the required members. Now I would like to define the required members over here. Now I'm defining the members. Public, integer, product code, and quantity. That means how many products are available, that count of the product, that is quantity. Now, public string, product name, manufacturer name, location, contact number, email address. Public decimal, unit price. What is the cost of this product? Public date, manufacturing date, expiry date. Public boolean is in stock. Whether the product is available in stock or not, okay, we can able to verify this. So this is how we can define an Apex class by using this developer console. So, but in this case, we are having few benefits. We are having few benefits are available upon defining the Apex classes by using this developer console. Then what are those benefits? Now let me explain. In this developer console, it provides IntelliSense feature. It provides IntelliSense features for your S subject data types. Whatever the S subject data types that we have, for those S subject data types, it is providing IntelliSense features here. That is the first benefit. Second one, it provides an auto compile option, not auto save, only auto compile. What do you mean by auto compile option here? Whenever I'm typing that content, whenever I'm writing this Apex class code, for every 10 fraction of seconds, automatically whatever the code I have written, the whole code will be sending to the force.com platform for the compilation, not for execution, only for compilation. So whenever I'm writing the code for each 10 fraction of seconds, whatever the code I have written, the whole code will be sending to that force.com platform for the compilation. That means both the development and the compilation both will be happening parallelly as part of this developer console. Okay, this is a major benefit here. So directly we can execute that code. Okay, now in this case, let's see over here. For example, whenever I'm writing this a piece of code, suppose if I forgot to specify any mistakes, if I did any mistake here, after this unit price, I'm removing the semicolon. That means whenever I'm writing the code, if there is any syntactical mistakes are available, we can identify those mistakes in the initial stage itself. Upon writing the code itself, okay, while writing the next two lines of code itself, you'll be getting the issues in the previous lines. That means in the early stage itself, we can identify our compilation issues. Generally, when we can see the compilation issues, once the whole code has been getting written, upon saving the code, then it will compile the code first. Then we will know that at the last moment, we'll know what are the issues that we have inside my code. What mistakes that we did, we can identify at the last moment. But now, when you go to the developer console itself, upon writing the code, automatically the code will be getting compiled for every 10 fraction of seconds. So in the early stage itself, we can able to identify the compilation issues, so we can able to correct those mistakes as well. That's what here it is indicating. Now in the line number 5, there is a issue. So it is indicating a red color exclamation. That means there is a problem. What is the problem? If you want to see that, here it is indicating. Okay, there is one problem here. Just you can expand the tab bar. We are having a tab called as problems tab. When you go to the problems tab, now it is indicating in the products helper in the line number 5. So now there is an unexpected token unit price. That means the statement is not ended properly over here. Without ending the previous statement, you went to that next statement over here. Okay, so that it is clearly indicating that issue, what exactly the mistake that you did, in which line number you did the mistake, it is indicating very clearly. Based on that, we can able to correct our mistakes and we can able to save, okay, the compiled code. Okay, now, so now what I will do, I will specify that semicolon over here. Now I'm going to that line number 5. I'm simply specifying the semicolon. I'm sitting idle here. I'm not saving anything here, nothing I'm going to do. Automatically, for every 10 fraction of seconds, my code will be sending to the force.com platform. It will compile, no compilation issues, my code is perfect. Okay, clear? Understood the concept here? Now, so now in this case, we are having these two benefits are available. The first benefit is we are having intelligence feature. Second one, we are having auto compile option. Because of the auto compile option, we can identify the syntactical mistakes in the early stage itself. Upon writing the code, for every 10 fraction of seconds, your code will be sending to the force.com platform for the compilation, so that we can identify those compilation issues in the early stage itself, so that we can correct them at the early stage. Okay, now, so now once the code has been written, then how can we save this code? Do we have any save button here? In this entire editor, do we have any save button anywhere? No, we don't have any save button. How can we save this code? Hmm. In this case, we have to use that shortcut mechanism, that is Control S. Like as your notepad, like as your Word document, we are using Control S in order to save the code. Same passion here also, we have to use Control S in order to save the code. So now in this case, you can raise a question. Sir, how do we know whether my class code has been saved or not? How can we check it out? Hmm. How do we know whether my class code has been saved or not? If you want to know whether class is saved or not, just when you go to this, when you go to your class file, This is a file name. What is the file name here? Products helper.apxc. Now, after this products helper.apxc, there is a small star symbol here. There is a small star symbol. Now, this star symbol is indicating your class code is not yet saved. Okay, the class code is not yet saved. This is the indication. So after your class file name, if you are having the star symbol, that means your class code is not yet saved over here. Okay, now I would like to save this class code. Let's click on Control S. Use that Control S. Now it is saving my class code over here. Now class code has been saved successfully. Okay, now we don't have any star symbol, so that means my class code has been saved successfully inside the metadata repository. So this class code we no need to maintain in our local notepad. Now from now onwards, the whole code we are writing inside the classes. Because of that, we no need to maintain our whole local notepad to save our code. The code will be saving permanently inside my Salesforce Arc. Okay, clear? Now in this case, for example, we can raise a question. Sir, before few minutes, I have prepared an Apex class by using standard navigation. So I want to do some changes in that class code. Can I do those changes from here? I have prepared that class by using standard navigation. Can I open that class code from developer console? Yes. In any manner you can use. Whatever the classes we have prepared in standard navigation, those class code we can able to open in developer console also. Whatever the classes we have prepared in developer console, the same class code we can modify from the standard navigation also. The ways are different, but ultimately the code will be same. The code will be storing inside a single location, but the ways are different over here. Okay, now, for example, now tell me, I have a bank account. Okay, I have a bank account. Now, in order to deposit that bank amount into my account, how many ways are available? Compulsorily, do we need to visit the bank branch? No, we can visit the bank branch also. We can deposit the money through a check also, a DD also. We can go to that CDM machines also over here. We can do through online also here. So many ways are available, but ultimately the whole amount will be going into my account only. Same process here also. The complete code will be storing inside the metadata repository, but how to access, that is your option. So Salesforce has given multiple ways, like a standard navigation, developer console, URL format, multiple ways they have given to you. It's your choice which way is okay more comfortable with you. So depends upon you are comfortable, we can choose any one of the option over here. Now, I want to open that class code which I have prepared previously, okay, just before few minutes by using standard navigation. How can we open that class code now? For that one, just you can go to that file menu. Now, what can I do? I don't want to create new. I want to open the existing one. Click on open. Now, what you want to see here? You want to see what? Classes or triggers or Visualforce pages or what? I want to see the classes. Just before few minutes, I have prepared an Apex class. Now these are the two classes here. Which class we have prepared? Customer helper. Just we can double click on the class name. That class code will be getting opened. We can able to write that code whatever you want. We can save it again from here also. Okay. Now we can prepare by using one mechanism. We can modify the class code by using another mechanism also here. Clear? Understood the concept now? Now, one more thing here. Suppose in future you can raise a question. Sir, I have prepared some Apex classes in the past, but those Apex classes we are not using anywhere. So my client asks us to remove this kind of unused code. I want to delete that Apex class code. If you want to delete the Apex class code, how can we delete? In order to delete the Apex class code, the only way is we have to go to standard navigation. Go to the standard navigation, go to the Apex class, and then you will be having the delete option. From there, we can delete that code. Okay. From developer console, we can write the code, we can modify the code, we can save the code, but we can't delete the code here. We can't delete that Apex classes. If you want to remove those classes, we have to go with standard navigation only. Please remember these points. Okay, clear? Now, make a note of this class code.
Hi Firoz, so for the IntelliSense, do we need to set any option here? Because I am not
No,
getting that IntelliSense from my side.
no, don't. You won't get that system dart. You won't get that IntelliSense here because for the custom objects classes, you will be a subject classes. You will be getting IntelliSense, not for all.
Okay. Not okay.
So
Got you.
previously, whenever we are writing system dot, okay, we are able to get the IntelliSense. But from this current release, Winter 24 release onwards, this okay, IntelliSense option has been retired by Salesforce. IntelliSense option is not available for your standard classes. For the standard classes, IntelliSense option is not available. That has been retired from this current release, Winter 24 release onwards only, that has been retired. So for your Salesforce object classes, that means yes, subject classes you will be getting IntelliSense. For your custom classes, you will be getting IntelliSense as well. Okay. Now,
Okay, got you. Thank you.
done with this code. Now, let's write one more Apex class code. Define an Apex class to manage the patient details. Define the required variables to hold the patient data. Generally related to a patient, what kind of data we can store? Patient ID, that means patient code, patient name, gender of the patient, age of the patient, and the contact number, email ID, and the location. And they're collecting the details about the disease, what exactly the problem, and then the doctor name to whom he would like to consult, and they would like to collect the details of consultation fee and the appointment date and the appointment time, and then we can check whether it is okay already done or not, the doctor the patient is already visited or not, and we can store the patient type also, whether he is an outpatient or inpatient. We can able to store all these details. Now define the Apex class, write the code for this. Now, let's see how can we do that. Now tell me, from these two, which one is the best suitable one here? What is the best way to define these Apex classes? You have observed both the ways now. Like we have used standard navigation and the developer console both. What is the best way that would like to choose? Developer console, right? So developer console is the best mechanism in order to prepare your own Apex classes to write the business logics. Okay, now let's see. Now I'm preparing this Apex class now. Patient helper. Now I'm defining that members. Public, integer, patient code, patient age. Right. Next. Public string, patient name, gender, patient type, whether he is outpatient or inpatient, and then we can able to store the patient contact number, email address, doctor name to whom he would like to consult. This is a description. This is the description. Next. Public decimal consultation fee. Public date, appointment date. Appointment date. Visiting date. Public time, appointment time. Boolean is visited. That means whether the patient is already visited this particular appointment or not. As per the appointment schedule, whether he has visited, consulted the doctor or not, so we can able to store that information by using this Boolean parameter. So like that, depends upon your application requirement, we are going to be using the help of this variables. Based on the business needs, we can prepare our own class. Inside the class, we can define those members also over here with respect to data type by giving the respective access specifier. If I'm not giving any access specifier, then by default, Apex programming will be considering these members as private by default, which can be accessible within the class only, not from outside. Okay, clear up to this one? Now, clear? Next. So as of now, we have discussed how to define an Apex class and how can we define the members we have discussed. Now, so now tell me in this case, how can we access these members, how to assign the values? Okay, we'll see practically here. Now, so now tell me in this case, how can we access this class members? Once a class has been defined with the required members, that means it may be variables, procedures, functions, properties, constructors, all these things together. Once a class has been defined with the required members, then how can we access them? What we need to access the class members? Object, right. So now then what exactly an object? How can we define an object of the class? Through object, how can we access the class members? How to assign some values? How to retrieve the values? Now let's see one by one. Okay. Now, till now we have discussed about the concept of classes, how to define a class, what is the syntax, how to use them, what are the ways to define an
Firoz,
Apex class, everything we are. Now let's come to that concept of object. Please tell me.
you there? Just it's nothing much, but can we change just the spelling of DC disease? It's become dead body.
Sorry.
DESE. Yes. You see this disease description? DISEAS, right? Because this disease is dead body. Thank you.
Now, the disease description. Now, so let's see the feature here. So now in this case, okay, object. So what exactly an object and what is the use? How can we define an object of the class? How to use the object in order to access the class members, to assign some values, to retrieve the values. Okay, now let's see. Now, so that already we know that. So once a class has been defined, then by default, class members will be holding the values as empty, nothing, because we haven't assigned any value for these members. So these will be holding the values empty, nothing. Now, in this case, how can we access these class members? That already told you in the previous session. Class is like as a locked cupboard. Class is like as a locked cupboard which contains a collection of important elements. Some valuable elements will be available inside that. So if any of the family member wants to use those items, they have to unlock that cupboard first, so that they need a key. Based on the key, they can unlock that cupboard and they can use the items whatever they want. Like the similar way, when coming to the class is having a group of members which has been binded together here, because within the block only we have written. That means it has been completely locked. So in this case, if you want to access this particular class members, we need a key or we need a reference that is called as an object. So object is nothing but an instance of a class. It's nothing but a reference or a key to the class which is used to access each and every class member, and we can assign the value and we can retrieve the values as well. Then in this case, how can we define the object of a class? What is the syntax that we used to follow? Now let's see one by one. Okay? Now, for example, let me take a class over here. For example, I would like to take a class like a some products helper. I'm having this class. So this is the class that I have. I'm having this class. So this is the class which I have prepared. So now once the class has been defined with the required members, now I would like to access this class members. Then in order to access these class members, I need to create an object. So how can we create an object? What is the syntax? Now let me explain. Let me give you the syntax first. Then I will explain each and every part of the syntax, what it will do. Syntax says we have to specify the class name to indicate for which class you are going to create the object. And we can specify the object name. With what name you want to create the object. We have to use the keyword new. And then class name and open braces, close braces. okay, and a semicolon. So this is the syntax. Class name space object name equals to new class name. Okay, open braces and the close braces. So this is the syntax we used to follow in order to define the object of a class. Now, so what exactly this syntax indicates? Now let me explain each and every part. So what exactly each part of the syntax? Now let me explain. Now the first part here, class name. So now this part is going to be indicating. Okay, this part will indicate the name of the Apex class. For which class you are going to create the object here. Name of the Apex class. For which class you are going to create the object. And the second one, object name. So with what name you want to create the object here? We have to specify. So with what name you want to create the object. Now, this new keyword is for what? This is for what? Memory allocation, right? Memory allocation. So the memory allocation will be done by the new keyword. Now, let me explain here. For example, let's take this particular part up to this part here. This is looking like as what? Your data type name and then variable name. Class name, object name here. That means it's like as, for example, I'm having integer. Integer, I'm giving some x. Now this is also like as a data type, that means class name and then object name, that means variable name. This is also same like as my normal variable definition over here. In this case here, what will happen? If I'm defining the variable with the name ex, which is of type integer, then how much memory will be reserving by Salesforce? 4 bytes. Why 4 bytes? There is a fixed size defined by Apex programming. Apex programming defined there is a fixed size for the integer data type, that is 4 bytes. But this is what? My own class. Okay, this is my own class. In that class, how many variables you have defined? So many here. It may be 2 variables, 1 variable, 100 variables, 20 variables, 50 variables, whatever. Now, in that case, for this particular variable here, okay, for this particular object, how much memory we need to allocate? In that case, what it will do? Now it will go to the respective class, it will verify, then how many variables are available in the class, what type of variables are available in the class, it will identify. Based on that, it will calculate how much memory needs to be get reserved. To do all these calculations, we need a feature that is called as new keyword. So the new keyword is going to be taking care of calculating the required amount of memory over here, and that much of memory will be getting reserved for this particular object. Okay, clear? Now, so in this case, for example here, now the new keyword will be calculating the required amount of memory here, and then it will be allocating the memory. So once the memory has been allocated, for each and every variable, what is the default value that we have? Null, because we haven't assigned any value for the variable. If I'm not assigning any value, what is the default value will be storing by Salesforce by default? Null. Who will assign that null value? This last part. This part is called as default constructor. This part is called as default constructor. This part is called as default constructor. Now this default constructor is going to be taking care of storing the default value as null for each and every variable here. In order to store the default value for the variable, we are using the help of this default constructor. Clear? This is a syntax. So we have to specify the class name and the object name equals to new, and then we can specify the class. Okay, class name and then open braces, close braces here. Now this last part is called as a default constructor, which will assign the default value for these variables. Now Now tell me here, my class name is what here? Products helper. I'm creating the object of the class. I'm creating the object of the class. What is my class name? Products helper. Now this is the class name. I want to indicate the object name. For example, I'm giving the object name as P helper, or simply we can give P also, no problem, anything. Equals to new products helper. I'm creating the object of the class. Okay, I'm creating the object of the class over here. So now in this case, what will happen? Now, when you observe this particular part, it will be looking like as a data type, your variable name. So now in this case, if it is a normal integer data type, we have fixed size that is 4 bytes. If it is a decimal, 8 bytes, there is a fixed size. But this is my own class. In this class, I have defined so many variables, so many functionalities I have implemented, so that we need to calculate the memory dynamically at runtime, so that we are using the help of this new keyword. New keyword will go into this particular class. It will analyze the class structure. It will analyze the members of the class. Based on the members, it will identify how much memory will be required. That much of memory will be reserving for this particular variable automatically by default over here. Okay, now assume that in this case here, okay, now in this case, for example, now new keyword is going to be reserving the memory here. For example, for this particular class, for this object, we need to allocate some 100 bytes of memory here. Assume that this is the 100 bytes of memory has been reserved. 100 bytes of memory. Assume that this is the 100 bytes of memory. 100 bytes of memory has been reserved. Now, this memory will be pointing to this object here. This memory will be pointing to this object. Okay, that's what I told you. Memory will be always allocating for object, not for the classes, because object is holding the values for the members here. Now the new keyword will be allocating the memory. Once the memory has been reserved, then this default constructor will be came into the picture. It will collect each and every class variable. For those variables, it will be assigning the default value as null. Then what members are available inside the class? We have product code, quantity, product name, manufacturer name, everything is available. For each and every member, it will assign the default value as null. Now, product code, it will assign the default value as null. Product name, null. Quantity, null. Manufacturer name, null. Contact number, null. Unit price, null. Is in stock, null. And then, right, email address, null. Manufacturing date, null. Expiry date, null. Like that, for each and every member, it will assign the default value as null. Now, this will be taken care by whom? Default constructor. This part will take care of allocating the default value for your class members. Okay, clear? Now, so now tell me in this case, if you want to go to this variable, then first of all, we have to know this address, right? Yes. Where is this address? This address is available inside this variable P helper. That means object. So if you want to assign some value for this variable, then we have to use the help of object. Through the object, we can go to the memory location. In that memory location, go to this variable, assign the value, whatever you want. So once the object has been getting created, we can access each and every member by using object name dot variable name. Okay, object name dot member name. Then how can we access this variable name? Let me show you how to assign the values. Now let me explain. Assigning the values. The syntax is we can specify object name dot member name equals to value. Object name dot member name equals to value. Clear? Now, then how can we assign the values here? Now let me explain. For example, I'm assigning the value p helper dot product to code. I'm assigning the value 45900,236. P helper dot product name. I'm assigning the value. This is a string type of variable, so we are storing the value in the form of enclosing with single quote. I'm giving that product name as, for example, I would like to specify this is a desktop device. P helper dot quantity. It's like a some 100 products. P helper dot I would like to specify manufacturer name. I'm indicating Dell Incorporation. P helper dot unit price. I'm giving the value some 70 or 45,000. Like that, I'm assigning the values over here. I'm assigning the value. Whenever I'm assigning this value, what will happen? So whatever the value we have assigned, that value will be storing inside that memory location automatically. Now this a product code will be storing inside this memory location. Okay. Now this a product name. Whatever the product name we have assigned, that product name will be storing in that memory location automatically. Whatever the quantity value we have stored, that quantity value will be storing inside this. The quantity value will be storing inside this. Here is the quantity. Manufacturer name. This is the value. And the unit price. It will store the value. Okay. This is how. Through the object, we can access each and every member and we can assign the values for these members as well over here. Clear? Next. So now, once the values have been getting assigned, then how can we retrieve the values now? Tell me. How can we fetch the values? System.debug. In that one, what we have to write? Sorry? P helper dot code. That means what? What is the syntax? Object name dot member name. Okay. Now, if you want to fetch the values over here, directly we can fetch. That means I would like to retrieve the values. Now I would like to retrieve the values here. How can we retrieve? Now let's see. Retrieving the values. Syntax. We can specify the object name dot member. That's it. For example, I would like to fetch the value system dot debug product code is, we can specify p helper dot product code system dot debug. Product name is p helper dot product name system dot debug. Manufacturer name is p helper dot manufacturer name. Like that, we can access each and every member also. Whatever the members that you want, we can access them. Okay. So this is how we can able to create the object of the class, and we can able to assign the values for these members with the help of objects, and we can retrieve the values also. Okay. Understood the concept here now? No. Clear about this concept now? Next, make a note of this one. Object. Once the class has been defined with the required members, then we can access these members with the help of an object. Object is nothing but an instance or reference or key to the class which is used to enter into the class, and we can assign the values, and we can retrieve the values from the class members. Now, a class can have one or more objects. A class can have one or more objects. Memory will be always reserved for the objects. Now, the syntax. Class name and the object name equals to new class name and the open braces and the close braces. For example, products helper, some p helper equals to new products helper. No. Objects are purely supporting dynamic memory allocation. Hence, we can avoid the memory wastage. While creating the object, all the class members will get initialized with the value null by default. Null by default. And we can assign the values as below. Now, syntax. We can specify the object name dot member name equals to value. For example, p helper dot product code. P helper dot product name. P helper dot unit price. P helper dot is in stock. True. Like that we can able to assign. Done with this? Now, note. Once the values has been assigned to the variables, then we can retrieve the values from the variables as below. Syntax. Object name dot member name. For example, system dot debug. Product code is, I'm indicating p helper dot product code. System dot debug. Product name is p helper dot product name. Unit price is p helper dot unit price. Like that, we can able to access each and every member also. This is how we can create the class and we can create the objects. We can assign the values. We can retrieve the values. These four steps are very, very important. Okay, these four steps are very, very important because the next topic will be the ORM, object relationship in the mapping. In that ORM, these four steps are the base. Through ORM, how can we insert the records inside your object? Through programming, we'll see practically. How to insert single record, how to insert multiple records, how to insert related records, everything we'll see with practical. At that time, these four steps are very, very important. Tomorrow I will show you with a practical use case how to create the object of the class, how to assign, how to retrieve the values. Tomorrow I will show you with practical use case. Done with this? Now. So tomorrow we'll see the practical use case on this, okay? Object creation, how to create the objects, how to access the members, how to assign, and how to retrieve the values. We'll see practically in tomorrow's session here. Okay? Now, don't miss that tomorrow's session. That is very, very important. Okay?